Hey guys, Chris here with Project Lifecoach. I'm gonna do my five personal tips on setting New Year's resolutions. Basically, what I think a lot of people do wrong. With Project Lifecoach, what I'm doing is I'm working on my New Year's resolutions as well, and these are tips that I'm doing for myself. I'm keeping in mind, so it's kind of like notes to myself, and you get to see my personal notes. Okay, so my first tip, is to take your time, right? So during when January 1st came around, a lot of people were posting up their stuff on Facebook, and I was like, oh man, like I gotta get my New Year's resolutions figured out like before, I don't want to procrastinate. But then I realized, hey, you should take your time because it's really important, right? If you're going to commit to these resolutions or these goals for the next 12 months, you should give a lot of thought to it. So I gave myself the deadline of, okay, end of January, I'll get to it. Because if you start a company and you're doing the company mission statement or you're making the company name or the logo, you want to spend some time on that. And a lot of people, I feel like they just don't spend enough time thinking about their New Year's resolutions. Like I've been thinking about what I want mine to be since December. Okay. All right. So we're gonna move on to number two, and I'll explain why you should take time on it. So my number two tip is to do only 3 New Year's resolutions or 3 goals. And simply put, I just think you should do your top 3. Like last year, I had 6 New Year's resolutions, 6 annual goals. They were like about relationships. They were like being more chill, being myself. I wanted to make 60K while being healthy and happy. I wanted to become more fashionable. I wanted to help the world, like do more volunteer charity work, and I did some of that, but my efforts were kind of like all over the place. Some people have like 15, 20 different New Year's resolutions, and I feel like that just dilutes your efforts, it dilutes your focus, dilutes your goals. From my experience, I like keep track of my goals, on my blog like every year. And what I find to be the most effective is, 3. I think 3 is a pretty good number. And if you have more than 3, you can always choose your top 3 and have like secondary goals if you really need to fit them in. But for myself, the reason why it takes a long time for me to set up my New Year's resolutions is because I only allow myself to have 3 or to have my top 3. So I really like, oh, do I want to do this or do I want to do this? And I really ask myself, what is the most important things? Okay, so my third tip is going to be to choose the wording carefully. And now we're going to get into some of what are the goals that I'm setting for myself. Okay, so one of the goals I'm setting for myself is to work for Disney Imagineering this year. That's my goal. And I think there's a lot of different ways to spin it. Okay, and one of my personal theories is that I think goals should give you motivation, not you need motivation to move towards your goals. If you don't feel motivated by your goal, I think you're doing it wrong. Okay, kind of like Kamari, like your goal should spark joy. Like when you say your goal, you should come alive. Like I think that's how it should work. If you feel like, oh geez, I don't really want to do that, I think that's the wrong goal for you. Okay, so back to what I was saying before, like let's say I wanted to work for Imagineering. Like, does that spark joy to me? Like, yeah, sure, I guess it's a cool thing. But right now, I have my own 3 companies. I have run my YouTube. I have my name painting. Like, I work for myself. Why is working for, like, it doesn't sound better than what I already have, right? And so it doesn't spark joy to make my goal, I want to work a 9 to 5 job. Like, but it does spark goal for me if I wanted to become the best version of myself, learn a lot more, live up to your fullest potential. And if I frame my goal that way, like then that sparks a little bit more joy, or to be confident with where I'm going in my career. Like, sure, I have a pretty good life now. Like I get to travel, I work at home, but I don't feel that confident. I don't, So maybe how I should word my goal is not, I I want to work for this company, but I want to feel confident about my own career, and that's something that has a lot more strength for me. All right. So for example, for you, let's say you wanted to, lose weight or go to the gym or something like that, right? And then let's talk about how you want to spin it. Like, is it strength you desire? Is it endurance? Is it fitness? Is it muscle? Is it the way you feel confident about yourself? Like, what is it about that goal that makes you click? Maybe it's to feel more confident. Maybe it's to attract the opposite sex. I don't know, but whatever the words that you choose, it should make you like really come alive. Not like, oh, go to the gym 3 times a week. Like, it's not like a fun. It should be like a fun goal. Okay. And to piggyback upon that, is just to really know your motivation. Like when I am, this is kind of like a 3B. Okay, know your motivation. Is it like, let's say I'm working for Disney Imagineering, right? Is my motivation? Is it for money, right? Is it to have money to support my family, or is it for job stability? I'm not really sure. Like, those are questions I need to ask myself. And just like, let's say you wanted to work out, right? Let's say, is it to feel good about yourself? Is it to live longer? Is it to play with your grandchildren? Is it to have a healthier body so you don't worry? I don't know. But I think those are questions that we should ask ourselves when we are setting goals. Okay. So, all right. So let's say number 4. All right. So my 4th tip is to really review the context in which you are setting goals. Let me see. So one of my goals is to work for Imagineering and feel confident about my career. Then I'll ask myself, when did I last feel confident about my career? It was probably in like college or like high school. Like, what was I doing 5 years ago or 10 years ago that made me feel so confident? How did I lose that confidence? Where did my work ethic stop or something like that? What did I do this year? What did I do the last 5 years? Like, review the context of your goal. Like, a lot of people say, oh, don't compare to other people. You should compare to yourself. Well, comparing to yourself is still a lot of work. You need to dig through a lot of files and records if you want to compare to yourself. It's still like one of my goals is to become stronger, work out and stuff like that. So I'm comparing to myself. I know a couple years ago I was doing Tough Mudders. I was a lot more muscular back then. If you look at these photos of me, and what happened? Was it the job I was taking? Like, was it the time? Was it my diet? Was it my exercise regime? Like, what happened? What changed? And it's important to review that context, and that's something I'm doing now. And it takes some time, and it's really abstract data and stuff. But yeah, I think that's one of my tips, to review the context. And my 5th tip would be to make image boards for each goal you do. So a lot of times people make the image boards for their like a dream home or their dream body, and that's about it, but people don't really apply the image board technique to their individual goals, and I think they should do that. So here are my image boards that I'm kind of working on, and they're still like a work in progress. One of them is to do with my health, it's kind of like shapes what I want. Another one is to do with, a job at Imagineering. Like, I'm getting really specific, looking at like what the location of the studio, and what apartment would it be, what I'd be moving into and stuff like that. And it's really important to visualize and contextualize it, because like, would I be happy if I didn't work for Imagineering, but I was making a lot of money at home freelancing? Like, what is it exactly that I want? Or what if I was working for Imagineering and I had a job there, but I was like an intern and was making like very little money? Like, what exactly about the goal sparks joy in me? What is it that I really want? Because a lot of times, like for me, like I'd reach a goal and I'm like, shit, like I'm not that happy, even though I got what I wanted. So I think it's important to feel what is the emotional resonance. And here's another image board. And one of my last goals I'm having a tough time with, it's to be less angry and to be more chill. I'm not really sure how to go about this, but like I have an anger problem where I'm angry a lot. And Yeah, so it's kind of part like you can't say like don't be angry because it's like the don't imagine a pink elephant rule. It's if you use the word don't before a word, your subconscious mind can't process it. So you have to say the opposite of you will do what you do want, such as you want more patience or whatever. So yeah, so to review these tips again, they are to one, take your time. Two, choose only three, your top three. Three, choose your wording very carefully. You should know your motivation, right? And four is to review the context. And five is to make image boards for each of your goals. So those are things that I'm working on for myself. So I'm just kind of sharing you my process, and I'm not done making my goals yet, but I wanted to make a video because I like this time of year. I like goal setting and stuff. It's kind of fun for me. All right, good luck. Oh, and if you disagree or you have a different point of view, of course, everyone is in a different place in their lives. They have different work-life arrangements and stuff like that. Leave your comment about what you think is similar or different for you. Okay, bye.